And how did it feel when you finally received your E2 visa
Oh,
approval?
it was very exciting. I was so happy. It was 10 o'clock p.m. and I went downstairs because my husband was downstairs and I was like, I think I was white and he was like, what happened? What's wrong? And I was like, we got approved. And he was he was so happy. We were both so happy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visa to America YouTube channel. I'm your host, Steve Hardig, and today we have another amazing E2 visa story. Please welcome our guest, Maria McGregor. Welcome, Maria.
Hi.
Would you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell everyone your background, like your name, where you're from, and what kind of E2 business you have in the U.S.?
Yes. So my name is Maria McGregor. I'm from Ontario, Canada, so not too far from the US. And I have an E2 visa and I own a laser clinic in Naples, Florida. So I do all kinds of skin treatments.
Excellent. And what
Yes.
inspired you to go the E2 visa route?
Well, we wanted to be able to move to the US a little bit quicker than having to go through the green card process. And our kids were young, my husband and I, and our kids were young, and we didn't want them moving schools when they got older. It was just an easier time period. And with COVID and all the shutdowns, it was just the perfect time for us to relocate.
Absolutely. And how did you first hear about the E2 visa and Visa to America Inc., like your initial filing and your RFE? And tell us about also your NOID experience.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of research on the different visas and we came across the E2. And then we were actually referred to Joseph by a friend of ours who went through the same process and it was seamless for them. And they highly recommended Joseph and his team. And so we contacted them and here we are.
Fantastic. So now let's talk about the visa application process. What was it like getting
Yes.
all the documents together?
The documents, it was hefty. I mean, it was a process, that's for sure. But you know what? They were able to guide us and let us know exactly what we needed, when we needed it, and that was very helpful. So without them, it would have been impossible.
And I understand you got an RFE from the USCIS. Now, for those of you who don't know what RFE is, it's a request for evidence. Were you surprised when you received the first notice? And what did it immediately tell you about your case?
Well, they were actually looking at it, which was great. And I don't know if I was surprised or not, just because I'd never gone through the process before. So, we just took it as it was. And every time we got a letter in the mail from them, I immediately just sent it to Joseph and his team, and they were right there to help us. But, anything's possible. So I wasn't really surprised. I was more prepared that they would want to see more documentation and different evidence, I guess.
Okay. And what is the most critical part to answer on that RFE that you've received?
Jeez. They just wanted to know, I don't even remember. No. They wanted to know about where the funds were coming from and make sure everything that was being done was legal.
Gotcha. And now, even after submitting a specific and detailed response to the RFE, you still
Mm-hmm.
received a serious news of a notice of intent to deny, an NOID.
Yep.
How did
Yep.
that feel, and how did it change your perspective on your case?
Oh, I was so upset. I was so upset because I thought they were going to deny us. And I mean, we'd already opened the business, or I'd already opened my business, and I was starting to hire employees. So I just asked Joseph, I said, what do I have to do for them to approve? And he just said, show them more evidence, show them what they need, and that's exactly what I did. And after I did that, I got an email from the USCS. I think it was at, 10 p.m. the one night. And it was, we just want to inform you that you've been approved.
That's
So,
fantastic. And I
yeah,
assume it was probably pretty stressful going through that whole
it was.
process.
Yeah,
What kind of,
definitely. It was.
what did it do to your mental health, your family, and your professional life?
Well, my family, my kids didn't know really anything. I have two young kids, and I didn't want to involve them or show any stress towards this whole thing. So they didn't really know. But we were worried because we didn't want to have to go back. And, we have a house here, we have rental properties here, and it was stressful, but we just tried to stay positive. That's all you can do is stay positive, have a valid case,
Mhm.
and show them the evidence that they want.
And how did it feel when you finally received your E2 visa
Oh.
approval?
It was very exciting. I was so happy. It was 10 o'clock p.m. and I went downstairs because my husband was downstairs, and I was like, I think I was white, and he was like, what happened? What's wrong? And I was like, we got approved. And he was he was so happy. We were both so happy.
I bet you were.
Oh
And
my gosh, so happy. It was a long process. It was a very long process.
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So, what would you say the effect of the visa getting it approved had on your business and your life so far?
Well, I mean, I could go forward with everything I had planned, and it's great. I have employees that work with me, and, we're having a great time. So it's just wonderful.
And so, what advice would you give to someone who receives an RFE or the subsequent NOID for their E2
Mhm.
visa application?
Well, don't give up because I got approved. And I had a valid case. I just had to prove that it was valid, and I had all my numbers intact. And you just have to give them the information that they want, and always even give them more, just so they know that you really want this and you really want to, come here.
Right. And how important was it to work with Visa to America during the process?
It was great. They were absolutely phenomenal.
So I assume you would recommend them to anyone who wants to apply for an E2
Yes,
visa.
yes, yes. We have recommended them.
Great. And just kind of summarizing here and finishing up, do you have any final words of encouragement for viewers who are thinking about applying for an E2 visa?
Well, contact Joseph and his team, and they will tell you absolutely everything that you need, and they have all the answers. So if you're ever wondering anything, just contact them and ask them the questions that you need, because this is a new process for you as it was for me, and I had a ton of questions.
Great. Well, I want to end here and say congratulations. It sounds like you're
Thank
off to a
you.
great start in the United
Yes,
States. And,
yes, yes.
and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Maria.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye bye.